What's up guys, welcome back. Now in this video we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch Pro, of course. That is the news going around that everyone's talking about, and we're going to continue talking about it. Of course, I've been talking about this for the past year or so, and also I'm going to talk about a video that Nintendo Prime did on his channel today, and I'm going to leave a link in the description about is this the real Nintendo Switch is what he talked about, and I'm going to go ahead and give my take on it. And I think he did a great job, and of course go check out his video. So of course, with all the rumors going on from the Wall Street Journal about the Switch Pro and Switch Mini, there's been some talk also about whether or not this is the quote-unquote real Nintendo Switch that Nintendo intended to release back when they were still planning it as the Nintendo NX. And of course you guys are very familiar with what happened in 2016, 2015 on this channel when we were doing all the speculation about the NX. But more noticeably, the thing that was the most shocking to me was the chip that Nintendo chose to use for the Nintendo Switch was a stock chip Tegra X1 processor. So when you think about it, the only thing Nintendo has made themselves as far as customized for their own consoles since the Wii U was the new models of the Nintendo 3DS as far as what they have released to the public. So the question is, what had they been making for all these years, in the past 7 years, past 5 years, what have you, since the Wii U? Obviously they weren't just making the Nintendo 3DS. The 3DS came out in 2011, and then they updated the hardware in 2015 with the new Nintendo 3DS. And when we talked about it in the recent live stream, the new Nintendo 3DS had an upgraded processor with 3 times the clock speed, and it went from dual core to quad core and nearly doubled the video RAM on it. We also talked about in that live stream, I do suggest you check it out, is that the Nintendo 3DS is a handheld only device with 2 screens. So the upgrades that Nintendo made to that system are not necessarily going to be the same exact type of upgrades they make to the Nintendo Switch, which you can play on the TV. But it's interesting though, because will this actually be a Switch Pro upgrade from the original Nintendo Switch, or will this be what Nintendo originally intended on for the Nintendo NX, but just didn't have enough time to finish their vision and then release the Nintendo Switch in March 2017 before the actual realization of this console was finished? And that is what Nintendo Prime brought out in his video, because there was a rumor on 4chan and some other people talked about it as well. I believe Review Tech USA also heard from his sources that this has been the Nintendo Switch or slash Nintendo NX that Nintendo has been working on for the past 3 to 4 years. So that would go back to 2015, maybe even back to late 2014 timeframe. And it stands to reason that this could be the case because the Tegra X1 was not designed by Nintendo. It was purchased and put in a very standard type of looking tablet device with attachable controllers on it, which of course are named the Joy-Cons. So it raises that really interesting question, what on earth has Nintendo been working on since the Nintendo NX was announced in 2015? Obviously they started something before that, and Nintendo has brought out when Kimishima was president before Furukawa took office that Nintendo had spent quite a bit of money in R&D for something. They didn't say what it was, but they did talk about new technologies that they were in research and development for. Obviously, I think we can rule out they spent millions and millions of dollars on cardboard with Labo. I don't think that's the case. So obviously, they've been research and development something as far as hardware is concerned. Something that they've been planning for years and years and years. Quite possibly now it's finally ready to show, and the Nintendo Switch concept has been very successful. Now they're ready to go ahead and put forth the full force of what their original vision was in the Switch Pro. That is the speculation that we're having here, because when the Switch Pro is released, obviously this is not going to be a rushed console. The Nintendo Switch, however, did seem like it was rushed. It was lacking features, and of course it has that telltale Tegra X1 stock processor put in there that they did not R&D for, but Nvidia already did in 2014. And released it for their own Shield tablet and Shield TV devices. So it makes sense that Nintendo has been in research and development for the last 4 years or so for a finalized version of what quite possibly could be their best foot forward as far as what could possibly be done with this hybrid concept of play your games on the TV and play them on the go. And it's worked really well for the Nintendo Switch currently with someone else's chip that they basically are licensing or borrowing or from Nvidia. But what could they do with their own customized chip that is made specifically for their own hardware to, take the advantages of playing on the TV and on the go and the battery life all into consideration, and not use that chip that was made for something else. So it's very interesting to think about. And also the Wall Street Journal talked about that these consoles Nintendo are releasing are going to be surprising. The Wall Street Journal said that you would be wrong to think the enhanced version is similar to what Sony did with PS4 Pro, and that the other machine, they talk about the Mini, was just a cheap alternative that looks very similar to some past handhelds, say the PlayStation Vita. Now I heard some people confuse this and think that this means that the Switch Mini was going to look like a PlayStation Vita. No, they're saying that you would be wrong to think that it would be similar to just past handheld machines like the PlayStation Vita as an example. So besides the Switch Pro being more powerful, which we know it will be, it's going to be interesting to see exactly the design of how these look. This is going to be something quite possibly Nintendo has designed from the ground up to fully fulfill their vision from the original purpose of what the Nintendo NX was. So this is pretty exciting when you think about it, that we could be seeing Nintendo's own vision as far as what the hardware needs to look like from the ground up, and as far as what the chips inside these devices need to be designed like, so they can fully fulfill the goal of what the Nintendo Switch is, being a home console that you can take on the go and play at home with you, quite possibly eliminating a lot of the limitations that the current Switch has due to that fact that it wasn't designed by Nintendo in regards to the chipset. The same goes for the Switch Mini. So there's a few things we know for a fact that happened when Nintendo released the Switch in March 2017. We know for a fact that Nintendo did absolutely no research and development for that chip that they used in the Nintendo Switch. So that means whatever they've been working on, maybe it's something pretty cool that we can look forward to in the Nintendo Switch Pro. I think they're going to be using something similar, or maybe even the same exact chips for both the Switch Pro and Switch Mini, with quite possibly some cores disabled or processors disabled in the Switch Mini to have it run at a lower powered state, and of course to not be able to play it on your TV. And of course the Switch Pro having everything enabled, being at full power or what have you, in order to have a fuller, better experience on your TV when you're playing it at home. And in regards to that rumor from 4chan back in late 2016, I think, or early 2017, and yes, 4chan has a lot of false information, but they also have some true information as well. They've gotten some Nintendo Direct things correct in the past. It's hit or miss with 4chan, but it does make sense when you think about it, that what was brought out back then was that the Switch was rushed because Nintendo did need money and needed to make money because the Wii U was a failure, but the actual system they were working on for the Nintendo NX was in fact going to be a customized chip. It just wasn't quite ready yet, and they were planning on releasing it in either late 2017 or 2018, but since of course this current version of the Switch has been successful, it's actually given Nintendo more time now to make this new Switch Pro quite possibly even better the more time and more technology has advanced over the past 5 years. So this is just a speculation video based on what Nintendo Prime talked about in his video. I thought it was a great job that he did, and I wanted to put my 2 cents in as well. I do think that this is likely that this is what Nintendo has been up to for the past 5 years. They have been developing their own mobile chip that can run games at a high level, quite possibly a lot better than the current version of the Nintendo Switch, because that was made on something designed not intended necessarily for what Nintendo's goals were for the Nintendo Switch going forward, and was made 100% completely on its own by Nvidia before they even had knowledge of what Nintendo's plans were for the Nintendo NX. Alright guys, so it's a very interesting topic. I would love to hear what you think about it. Let me know in the comment section. And if you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button, and I'll talk to you very soon in the next video. Have a great day.
I'll take that.